I am La Gringa Abogado Hadley Bajramovic, and to joining me today,
Hello, hola a todos. It's me, Zayra Ivette Padilla, La Chapina. It's always great to see you.
and which wheat peel are you wearing today, La Chapina?
It's from Coban, from Alta Verapaz.
Okay, I didn't understand that.
It's from Coban, Coban.
Koban. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Yeah, Zara has 100 wheat peels, I think at least. Yeah,
And
from all the different
counting.
areas. Yeah, and she's adding to her collection now that she's in Guatemala, I'm sure. And but Zyra, we were had a staff meeting today, a manager meeting, and I think we started out in both of them just talking about we're in the most exciting political election I think that the U.S. has had in decades and decades, and they're going to be studying what is happening here probably for a couple of centuries, trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. Um, So we learned over the weekend that Joe Biden is stepping down, and a lot of the people in the office were texting me and asking me what I think about it, and I responded pretty much to everybody. I'm processing it, and um, we've now had a couple of days to process, and now I'm really happy about it. Plus, it helps that we're seeing all of this really positive reactions to Kamala. And, I was just telling you guys, the producer, Fernando Cerda, I absolutely love the image where she's in a brown pantsuit and the light is shining on her and there's a shadow of a little girl, and we're in a female dominant law firm doing extremely difficult work that you know, most attorneys don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm,
That's one of the things that I mentioned, Hadley, about, when we get so many calls from different people trying to get help. And to be honest, I talked to them about, having working with you for 14 years, and how we take these very difficult cases that many attorneys turn down because of the difficulties, because of the just the time that we invest in all of these cases, and how important it is for us to have to be able to help as many people as we can. And like Hadley said, it's a predominantly a female law firm, which we're very proud of that.
yeah, and um, Kamala Harris has a reputation for being a fighter and for immigrant rights. And one of the attorneys, Carlos Sanchez, was mentioning in our staff meeting this morning that he worked in San Francisco when she was the DA. And then during the time he was in San Francisco, he was working for a activist group as an attorney. And there was a case where she was a staunch defender of an undocumented person who was not being given his due process. And everybody was backing down from the fight. And he said, including Gavin Newsom. And she didn't let go. She kept on fighting. And, it was pointed out it's probably because she's the child of immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I know President Obama was the child of an immigrant, right? Wasn't his father
Yes,
was from Africa.
Kenyan.
And I don't know a lot about Kamala Harris's background, but I do believe both of her parents are immigrants. Fernando,
Mm-hmm.
can you fact check me on that?
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think one is
Her
from India
mother
and one is
came from
Jamaica.
India to come to go to school here, She's a very well educated lady too, and they met here. And her father, it's you said, was it
I,
Jamaica?
I, our fact checker is going to let us know,
Yeah.
but I mean, she's beautiful. She's brilliant. She's obviously politically savvy. I mean, otherwise she wouldn't have gotten into the positions that she's in. And she's the first generation of immigrants. And we know the battle the Indian nationals fight to come into our country because they're 10-year backlogged in almost every category that they have available to them for family petitions or employment based. They have to wait, and they wait, and they do, and they come in, and then um, do we know yet if Kamala's dad is from Jamaica?
Yes.
That's
He's
that's
Jamaican.
another place. That's another place that's really hard to immigrate from into the U.S. Really hard.
He's like
So
Afro Jamaican ancestry.
okay, so we know that she knows the struggle, and um, if she's elected and she looks like she's doing really well in the polls and fundraising, then we'll have an immigrant advocate in the White House. So now I've processed everything and realized that, and I feel better about what President Biden is doing. I mean, that must have been a very painful decision to make. And
Yeah,
our
and
first woman.
yes. So I think it's gonna be very like important to, get up to date with everything that is going on, and make sure. And like I was reading a lot of comments of people in social media, um that they're like, no, it's not about Democrats or Republicans, it's about our democracy. That's what's put on the line. So there's a lot of people who are coming, just don't look at at the party, just look at the person, and who we're against, what this is going to cause the entire country. So it's one of a position that a lot of people are looking. I read a comment about this lady who said her husband has not voted for the last two elections because he's a Republican, but now he's like, I'm gonna vote because this is not about the party, this is about doing the right thing. And he obviously is gonna vote, Democratic this time, because he knows how dangerous it is to for Trump to be reelected. Um so that says a lot too.
Um, Zyra, will you kind of explain to our community in Spanish, what we're discussing? I mean, right now we're just kind of like talking about what we feel
Just
about Kamala Harris.
processing what's going on.
Yeah,
Like
the
like I said
processing.
in the staff meeting,
Yeah.
like, I'm actually like, there's you never lose hope, but I think I was just really like, God, like we're here again, So, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a very scary thing, So I was just like, but now, he, um, Biden, chose to have Kamala, and there's this thing about, yes, we can, like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we can. So, and I was like, you know what? I was talking to my dad. I was like, there's hope now. I think so. And, we just have to pray for the best, and hopefully, people are going to do the right thing, and so, cause it's very scary what they're, pointing out and saying about, what this country is going to turn to if he is reelected. So, así que, buenas a todos, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches a la hora que nos vean. Gracias nuevamente por estar con nosotros, con la gringa Hadley, la Chapina, Zayra. Para nosotros siempre es un gusto platicar con ustedes, y platicábamos sobre lo que está pasando en este país, ¿verdad? Es un momento histórico en por muchas razones. Obviamente todos están al tanto que el presidente Biden dijo, no voy a reelegirme, voy a, voy a optar por terminar mi presidencia hasta en enero y no postularme como el representante del grupo demócrata. Entonces, para nosotros es tan importante esta información porque estábamos bastante consternados sobre cuál era su situación mental, física, de salud, etcétera. Y vemos que obviamente él no estaba apto para poder ser un buen candidato contra el expresidente. Así que ahora va a ser Kamala Harris y para nosotros es algo muy importante viniendo de un despacho que predominantemente es de mujeres y lo decimos con muchísimo orgullo de que nuestro despacho está compuesto con la mayoría, que son la mayoría mujeres. Y esto va a ser histórico también para nosotros porque sería, si es que es elegida como presidenta de Estados Unidos, sería mi primera mujer en la historia de este país que fuese elegida como presidente de este país. Así que es algo histórico, estamos haciendo historia en ese aspecto. Y pensamos que yo estaba bastante consternada y preocupada sobre la actual situación en este país y lo que significaría que el expresidente se volviera a reelegir como presidente de Estados Unidos. Sabemos que Kamala viene de a sus, su historial en este país es de ver una persona que es muy inteligente, muy preparada, muy capacitada para obviamente ser la presidenta de este país y también que ella es primera generación estadounidense en este país. Su mamá es de la India y su papá es de descendencia jamaiquina. Así que ella es una inmigrante como yo, como muchas personas que nos escuchan, así que es algo histórico y va a ser algo muy importante. Sabemos que ella ha abogado mucho por los inmigrantes en este país, ya que ella es primera generación inmigrante en este país. Así que es algo bastante importante de tomar en cuenta y esto nos da un poco de esperanza de que hay un gran movimiento bastante positivo en este país, ya que ella fue elegida para sustituir en las elecciones al actual presidente Biden. Así que, como les vuelvo a repetir, estamos bastante contentos y ansiosos de que obviamente eso siga así como lo vemos, que va a ser algo muy próspero y que va a ser un gran momento para todas las mujeres en el mundo, de que un país tan poderoso y tan importante en el mundo sea una presidenta, que sea elegida la primera presidenta de Estados Unidos, que sería la vicepresidente Kamala.
Yeah, and I am La Gringa. I'm like a Gringa. And I am so happy not to see, these old white men anymore. I mean, oh my gosh, it's invigorating. It's like you said, you felt hope. Yeah, I feel hope and I feel invigorated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, she fights the hard fights. I mean, I don't think Trump's ever really fought a fight ever like we do, like in removal
Yeah,
proceedings and yeah,
Hadley, remember he had a hard time at his beginnings with, $1 million that he started.
yeah. He only got $1 million from his father.
That
Yeah,
was
but I mean,
hard.
we
That was
go
a
in.
very hard beginning.
Yeah, and we're trying to argue that a woman who's been, gang raped by, the cartels in Mexico, is worthy of asylum, and against the odds because, like, for example, in the Trump administration, the matter of AB, was preventing us from winning those cases.
Mm-hmm.
So, the other problem is that the MAGA Republican messages that undocumented people are criminals, and they are saying that Biden has let in all these criminals and terrorists, and if Trump is president, these people can't get in. And look at these 5 people that died because the border was not secure and these people were able to get into the United States. And I was talking to somebody about this last night, and I said, well, what happened with those 5 cases, and 5, that's an aberration.
Mm-hmm.
And the person responded to me, then you think it's okay that undocumented people, of course he was using another word, he was like, it's okay that they come in and kill people, and it's because an aberration, you're saying it's okay. And I said, no, an aberration means something that's not normal is
Mm-hmm.
unwelcome and unacceptable. I mean, so what happened with those people who died was unacceptable. There's no two questions about it. I mean, I agree. It's horrible that these people were victims of that kind of crime. But what we do know is that areas with predominantly immigrant communities, people who are undocumented, have lower crime rates, and that immigrants are less likely to commit crimes.
Make crimes.
Yeah, our producer Fernando is giving me all these different studies. A lot of them are from Texas. I've seen these studies over time in my capacity with the consulate in Mexico City, Mexico. Consulate in Mexico in San Bernardino, they were showing us reports quite often because they're attacked. They feel attacked when Trump and MAGA and Fox News and Newsmax talk about Mexicans as though they're murderers and rapists. And so they are brilliant people, and they do research and know what the statistics show and the truth about the communities that are predominantly Mexican, Guatemalan, Central America, South America. They know that these communities have lower crime rates. It's not until their first generations are introduced into American culture and schools that the crime rates increase, and that's with the next generation. And that discussion I had yesterday was very painful, and it made me realize how hard it is to be an immigration attorney. It's really, really hard because of what we have to do every day and what people think about our clients. And our clients are exploited and brought here through crime rings that charge them $7, $10, $15,000. Once they come into the U.S., they have to pay that money back by doing
Mm-hmm.
slave labor, jobs that people do not want to do, like yard work in 110-degree heat for, you know, 50% less than what the average U.S. worker would charge if they were
Yeah.
doing that work. And then, to be treated like criminals. When we all know that there is a part of immigration and part of the Border Patrol where they just turn and let people in because there's a whole,
They need people
they're
to pick up their crops.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and I guess maybe that's why we're invigorated by Kamala. We have a woman, and we know that women are fighters, attorney women. She's a DA, California Attorney General, now VP, woman of color. And I'll say this,
First
and then I'll let you
generation
talk. Some,
immigrant.
yeah,
Yeah.
and somebody commented, well, the last woman didn't get elected, but the last, I don't know where we are now, 47 or 46, most of those were men that didn't get elected that lost. So there's
Mm-hmm.
not, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, Oh, well, she's a woman, so she can't win. Well, men lose too.
Yeah, my friend sent me these reference from, I think it was Ford, the president, and he asked, what he thought about. I don't know if Sarah sent it to you. If what he thought about if a woman get elected, when would a woman get elected? And he's, aside from like the explanation, he said, and watch out once they are on the top, it's gonna be very hard for another male to be elected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh
what his
huh.
conclusion was. He's like, okay, yeah, this is what's gonna happen, and then if she once she gets elected, it's gonna be very hard for another male to be elected.
Well, at minimum, she'll set a new standard.
Mm-hmm.
Like your sister Fabi said today, it was so funny. Trump made it so that anybody can get elected.
I know.
I mean, he lowered the bar so low.
Exactly. We
Uh-huh.
thought George
Uh-huh.
W. Bush was bad.
Mm.
They thought
Yeah.
he was like dumb. I'm like, no,
No.
actually,
Yeah.
Trump makes him look very, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Así que sería, como les digo, igualmente interesante de lo que va a suceder en este país. Es algo bastante motivador y hay mucha expectativa. Igualmente platicábamos sobre el Partido Republicano, cómo es que se enfocan en los pocos casos de inmigrantes que han cometido crímenes de asesinatos en este país. Sabemos, no queremos excusar obviamente el hecho de que estas personas son criminales y que mataron a una persona inocente. Sí, eso es incorrecto, no debería pasar, lo sabemos. No queremos decir que solo porque el hecho de que son inmigrantes nosotros vamos a decir, oh, pero quién sabe por qué lo hizo o cuál fue el motivo, lo que sea. No, no hay excusas para matar, quitarle la vida a alguien. Pero lo que queremos recalcar es que sí, estas personas son criminales, mataron a estas personas, que fue terrible, pero que tampoco se enfoquen y que digan y que generalicen que todos los inmigrantes somos lo peor de la sociedad, que somos, qué sé yo, criminales, violadores, que pertenecemos al cártel de la droga, nada de eso, obviamente. Somos, como les dije en otros episodios pasados, somos más los buenos que los malos. Entonces, el Partido Republicano les encanta enfocarse en los 5 casos que han sucedido últimamente de personas inmigrantes que han cometido un delito, un crimen, son asesinos. Entonces, ellos les encanta enfocarse en eso, en decir, miren, son asesinos, son violadores, traen la droga que está matando a tanta gente en este país. Y no es cierto. Sabemos que las estadísticas muestran que las personas que son en las áreas que son predominantemente de comunidades migrantes en este país son las que tienen más bajo índice de crimen. Así que no es cierto que los inmigrantes somos asesinos, violadores, a dueños del cártel de la droga, ni nada por el estilo, sino somos personas que venimos a este país a superarnos, a trabajar bien duro, a hacer trabajos que nadie quiere hacer. Mencionábamos las personas inmigrantes que trabajan en la construcción y que están en climas severos de 110, 115, trabajando afuera. De esas personas estamos hablando nosotros. También en la frontera sabemos que en ciertas temporadas, cuando es la temporada de ir a piscar, a recoger a piscar las verduras y las frutas, se hacen de la vista gorda, como decimos, y dejan pasar a muchas personas para que obviamente saben que van a hacer este tipo de trabajo, así que nos necesitan. Entonces ahora sí es conveniente para nosotros dejarlos pasar para que nos hagan el trabajo que nadie más quiere hacer. Entonces, eso es lo que hablamos, que seamos justos cuando platicamos de personas inmigrantes en este país, que somos más los buenos que los malos, que venimos a este país a progresar, a darle a este país más de lo que recibimos definitivamente. Así que es algo de que la comunidad inmigrante en este país está muy orgullosa y que sabemos que hay más personas que saben lo importante que somos en este país que las otras personas que se encargan de difamarnos y decir que somos lo peor de la sociedad y que solo venimos acá a este país a tomar partido de él.
You know, Zara, some people have been saying too that Claudia Sheinbaum, who was elected in Mexico, you know, might be serving as an example to Americans. And, you know, her policies and politics aside, wouldn't it be awesome to have the U.S. and Mexico run by women?
Yes. Uh-huh. That'll
Uh huh.
be like amazing. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
when
no.
you think about it, Latin America has had a women president for like years and years ago, and you're talking about a machista society and like
Mm
countries that are not civilized and whatever, But on the other hand, we've been having women presidents forever for like I don't know since when. Like Nicaragua was one of the first countries that had a woman president. So, those are the things that we talk about many times. That we see that U.S. as such a powerful and country, and it has all these advancements and all these different things. But then on the other side, we still have not had women president in this country that mm, we need it already. Like we need a change, and to have all these little girls go out, see up to Kamala and say like, look, somebody that looks like me. And so not so much
hmm. Mm
about,
hmm.
I know that she's a woman of colored, but then just in general, she's a woman. And that is going to be the main thing about all of us, no matter what color, how you look. That's what's gonna make us proud and look up to.
Yeah, and I'm again going to repeat this is a female led dominant. I mean, because we do have almost like a 50-50 mix, but Layla, the other attorney, you know, she's from Iran, you know, and that's a country struggling with their treatment of women and human rights.
Mhm.
And me and then you're from Guatemala, and the women that are here are all very powerful people in one respect or the other. And it makes me so happy that my
Mhm.
granddaughter wants to be here every day. I mean, she is 8 years old and she comes to the office every day. I mean, this summer and hangs out. We call it CEO training.
CEO. That's cute. I
Yeah.
know she's a new apprentice.
Uh huh. Yeah. And your nieces came in too. And so,
Yeah, they
you know, it
love to
all,
come to the office. Every time my
yeah.
sister will ask me to go pick them up, they'll be so excited and they're like, please ask mommy to like let us come more often to the office, because we love it. And they will like do everything and they felt so special, and every time that I'll pick them up, they knew that their favorite auntie would like take them to Starbucks and then take them to
Well,
the
I mean,
office and for them to enjoy.
that's that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're representing people in removal, in humanitarian cases, asylum, U visas, business cases, and we don't even think about the impact we're having on the children around the law firm, and what these kids are seeing. I mean, I know that I was impacted by my mother's friends. That's why I became a lawyer, and I don't think about it. But this Kamala Harris news is just going to propel these little girls higher. There will be no ceiling for them.
Yeah, that's gonna be like very exciting. And like,
Yeah,
I was so excited when Obama was elected, and to be part of it,
yeah,
because I was able to vote, and so that was such a special moment for me. I still remember when we're in this big room in downtown Riverside, hugging each other and crying and saying how amazing it was to be there to make history, and that we were part of that history. And so this time is also exciting, and I'm remembering those times when in 2008 when that happened. And
yeah.
it makes me very excited and hopeful that we can still do this.
I know. I was watching the Daily Show coverage of the Obama election, and they announced America has its first Hawaiian president. I'll never forget that. And I remember jumping up and down and screaming. Oh yeah, that was amazing.
And he's so cool. I still
Uh
watch
huh.
videos of him going to different places, and people just like go crazy,
Yeah,
and he's such a cool person, and like
so
uh,
eloquent. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, nobody can talk quite like Obama can. His elocution is another level. So, somebody, I think Kellyanne Conway said today that Kamala Harris is not eloquent, that she can't speak very well. That was her comment. That was the gist of it. And George Conway, Kellyanne's estranged husband, they're not together anymore, kind of wrote back and said, "Oh yeah, well Trump is known to have a turn of phrase like like look who
Yeah,
your
very
guy is,"
eloquent.
and how, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a good podcast. We got to talk about what's happening with the elections, and not so much concentrating on immigration relief. And there are a lot of things to talk about with that. And we'll come back tomorrow and we'll pick up on what's happening, the excitement that's happening around immigration, both with the new Biden relief and how people are reacting to, the Republican National Convention. So we will see you tomorrow. Adios from La Gringa.
Nos vemos, chao. Y le dice
Ciao.
adiós a todos. Zayra Ivette Padilla, la Chapina. Gracias.